Welcome again to the part 3 of the French Revolution. What we have seen previously is the revolution has started, the Bastille has been stormed by the Parisians, and the king has been now brought to his Tuileries Palace inside Paris city for the people to see him and also for the people to make him feel how it is to be in Paris and during those very critical moments. So now we are sitting in the Tuileries Palace, which is no more because the palace has been burned down during the later part of 19th century, and so there is no more palace, but we have the gardens where the palace once stood, and this palace is a very important key monument of the revolution. So the royal family in the Tuileries Palace knew that they were under constant threat. The Austrian-Hungarian Empire warned France revolutionary government not to cause any harm to the royal family. This statement was taken too serious by the revolutionary government. During this period, the revolutionary government abolished feudalism and made a declaration of rights of humans and citizens. This stripped the nobles of all their wealth and social status. They were forced to remove all the engravings in the city, and their noble houses were brought down to the third estate. The Reformation on the religions didn't go very well, actually, and all the monuments and the statues which are belonging to the royal lineage has been demolished completely. The statues were melted down and to make cannonballs for war. All the Bourbon king statues around Paris were melted for the bronze which they had, and they were used against the enemies. Properties of all were given to every people who don't have a property. Fearing of their lives, the royal family tried to escape from Tuileries Palace on 20 June 1791, dressed as commoners. They evaded the guards of the palace and were on the way to Montmenty, a royal family royalist stronghold. From there, they planned to move to the Austro-Hungarian region and to get their royal army to march to Paris and reclaim the throne. Just to remind you that Marie Antoinette, the wife of Louis XVI, belongs to the Austro-Hungarian family. So all their plans were scattered by a postmaster named Jean-Baptiste Roy in Varne, just 50 kilometers away from Montimedi. The royal families were brought back to Paris, and the Parisians received them with a dead silence. The postmaster was able to recognize Louis XVI, which was a very uncommon thing during those periods because the king never came out of his palace, and it was quite an interesting thing how the postmaster was able to find the king. But the royal family was brought to Paris and was kept under house arrest. This one incident alone had a very huge impact on abolishing the monarchy. The people started to seeing the king as a common man and more than a demigod because they saw the king was afraid and he left them during a very critical moment, and he has lost the trust of the people. This act by the revolutionary government sent shock waves around Europe, where he was placed on house arrest, and many monarchies asserted their support to the royal family and to make sure similar thing does not happen to them because they don't want the revolution to spread across Europe. Uh, and of course, Napoleon, the star of the revolution, took the revolution to many parts of Europe along with his army. After the failed escape of the royal family, the fame and fortune of the royal family started to reduce among the French. It was in its boiling point, and all it needs was just a push. It came in a form of a statement by Charles William Ferdinand, who threatened the revolution government of grave danger if they do any harm to the royal family. This multiplied by the growing sense that the king may have friends in the new government and may make the constitution in favor of him. This was proved later by the letters which was found in the king's room to written to Mirabeau, who was also a famous revolutionary. People of France wanted a complete democracy, not a constitutional monarchy, so they marched towards the Tuileries Palace and wanted. And what happened next was a massacre. It's to be interesting fact. During the same time, England was under Henry VIII, and he had a constitutional monarchy where the king was the leader of the country and the people still had a constitution and a government, just like what is happening kind now with the House of Commons. So Louis XVI was also trying to do the some similar thing, still hoping to be a monarch and having the people under constitution, but it didn't go well. Losses were very great on both sides during this fight. The Swiss royal guards stood on their ground firm, and their order to dismantle was very late. Only a few escaped just as slow. Actually, one who was able to escape from massacre. The rest were put up in Bastille, and later they were killed during the November Revolution. There was a statue of a weeping lion in Lausanne, which is a city in Swiss, to in order to commemorate the loyalty of these Swiss guards. The women and the children in the palace were not harmed, which shows the professionalism of the people who were conducting the raid. The king was at last made to surrender, and thus the monarchy of the France came to an end. So France became the first country in the world to move from monarchy into a complete democracy. The captured king, now actually no more king, and his no more royal family was brought to the temple prison, which is right over here. And he was quite a shock for the luxurious life he once enjoyed in Versailles. The king was able to spend some time during with his family, and was also attending the trial on various charges. Most important them was treason. Though denying these charges, the National Assembly voted for the execution of the king. And if you look a little bit closer into the number of votes, it's a bit strange how they came to such a conclusion, because the votes which are executed for immediately executing Louis was just 49.5%. So let's do the math. There are 721 voters in total. 31 of them voted for death with attached conditions. 23 of whom revoked the Makhalain armament, where it was a little bit okay for them to do. Two of them asked for life imprisonment. 319 of them asked for imprisonment until dead of or till the war. Then 361 of them voted for death without condition. Just carrying the vote, it was a marginal majority of approximately 49.5%. Still, the major larger part was 51.5. Why still? But it was unanimous among people that Louis has to be guillotined in order to end the monarchy. So, anyways, the decision was made and the date was also finalized. So Louis spent his last night with his family, and spent one last moment and left to his room, and he didn't see them the next morning before he was going to the guillotine. So this ends the part 3 of the French Revolution. So what we saw today is the royal family being put under house arrest in Tunis, fearing of any problem to their life. They tried to escape, and but they were caught and were brought back to Paris. So the people were having lost the interest on the king, and there were a lot of other activities happening around the revolution government, like declaration of rights of humans and citizens, abolishing feudalism, and there's sometime having abolishing the religion itself, and then going on a revolutionary path. So then the king was put under trial, because and before the trial he was stormed into the Tuileries Palace by Parisians, and was taken to the temple prison. And then during the trial he was voted that he should be killed or guilty. And in part 4, what we'll see is the path taken by Louis to his guillotine board, and also the aftermath of the revolution. Thank you.